Hello and welcome to Enjoy English School.
欢迎来到 Enjoy 英语学院。
I'm Stevie.
And I'm Laurie.
Today, we are looking at our travel English lesson. And we are looking at something, if you travel, you will need this English. Okay? Our topic is choosing the best flight. This is important when you travel.
没错，所以今天来到我们的观光英语，我们要来看到的对话中文的标题是选择最佳航班哦。那么这个是英文标题的直译，尤其我们看到 flight 这个字呢，它是一个名词，指的就是航班。所以呢，就像刚刚 Stevie 老师讲的，如果你要出国玩了或者你要出国工作了，那么呢，这个绝对是你会用得上的一些英文字汇。所以今天我们赶快一起跟着对话来走一走吧。
Choosing the best flight. Naomi is looking up flights on her laptop when Pete walks by.
Hey, Pete. I'm having a hard time deciding which flight to book for my upcoming trip. I want to visit my sister in New York City. Can you help me out?
Hey, Naomi. One of the most important things for me is the flight time. I always try to choose a flight that fits my schedule so that I won't be in a rush after arriving.
That makes sense. But what about price? Don't you think that is important too?
Of course. The price is always an important factor, but I also consider the airline's reputation. It's important to choose an airline with a good track record for reliable departures and arrivals, especially if you have connecting flights.
Good point. I also like to consider the baggage allowance and whether the airline offers any additional services like in-flight entertainment or meals.
Don't forget to check the seating arrangements too. Some airlines offer larger space or comfortable seating options, which can make a big difference, especially on longer flights.
That's a good idea. Thanks for the tips, Pete. I think I can make my decision now.
I'm glad to help. I hope you have a nice time with your sister.
Okay, first, for you students who, plan on doing any traveling overseas, not every flight is the same, okay? For instance, this last summer, I went back to America to see my family, and I had not been home in 5 years.
Wow.
And there are not as many flights to the U.S. as there used to be.
Okay.
Okay. 就是今年暑假那个班机
没有那么多，
没有疫情前那么多，
以前那么多。
Yeah. So I'm looking at my flights, and there are some flights that go to America that, they were cheap. And then I looked, they were cheap because I have to go from Taipei to Seoul, Korea, and then to another place, and then to Los Angeles, then to my home. And I was going to be flying for like 29 hours or 32 hours.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long flight.
And a flight that cost a little more would take me directly from Taipei to LA and then to my home. So, and that flight was like, I was going to be flying for 19 hours.
Wow. That's a huge difference.
Still a lot.
But
a
lot shorter.
Yes. So learning how to choose the best flight is important. Okay? Because now a lot of us look at things online. We don't call a travel agent like before. Now we just get online and try to do it ourselves. So these are important words.
所以呢，刚刚讲到说这个选择航班的重要性，我们今天的对话里头会出现好几个不同选择航班的 factors factors 就是因素或者是这个对，就是元素、因素的意思。所以呢，有哪些是你要注意的？那么在今天的对话里头，我们都可以跟着 Stevie 老师一起来看。
Yeah. Okay, so we have Naomi and Pete. Now, Naomi is looking up flights on her laptop when Pete walks by. So looking up something. When you are looking up something, you're trying to find an answer. You're looking at information. So this is not look up, okay?
往上看。
Yeah. This is to look up something, to find information about something. So she's looking up flights on her laptop. Now, nowadays, sometimes we just call it a notebook
对啊。
computer. But in the past, we call them a laptop because it's a small computer that can sit on your
lab
lap. 就是你的大腿是你的 lap.
对
Okay? So your computer can sit on top of your lap. So it was called a laptop computer.
对
就像 PC 是 desktop.
对
桌垫, right?
对
Yeah.
桌机，好的，所以我们来看到一开始这个对话的情境啊，就是 Naomi 呢，她正在查找她的航班哦，那么用的呢是她的笔电，然后这个时候呢 ，Pete 他走过去了，他经过了哦，所以这个是我们的一个这个情境的设定。那么呢，刚刚有特别讲到 look up 的这一个片语哦，它不是指往上看哦，不是这个，对，好，它通常指的是你在看一些资讯，然后你有一个你要找的目标。然后呢，所以你正在查找这样子的一个概念，就你可以用 look up。
So Naomi is working on her computer. Pete walks by. So oh, hey Pete. This just means hi.
对，
Hey, hi.
打招呼
Yo. What?
打招呼
Yeah.
都一样。
And she's looking at the computer. So she's saying, I'm having a hard time deciding which flight to book for my upcoming trip. I'm having a hard time. This just means it's difficult for me to decide. Okay?
对
I'm having a hard time deciding or choosing which flight to book for my upcoming trip. And she could say my trip next week. But it's upcoming, so we know it's coming up soon.
所以呢，这个时候 Naomi 一开始啊，她先说 Hey Pete 哦，先跟他打招呼，然后呢，他就立刻说出他的这个状况哦。他说我呢 having a hard time， 就是对什么事情有困难，那么对后面的那件事情有困难哦。什么事呢？决定要为我即将要到来的这个旅程呢，来决定哪一个航班要预定。这件事情上面呢 ，I'm having a hard time， 我是有困难的啊、所以呢，他这个显然就是要 Pete 呢来帮助他这样。
Having a hard time is a great phrase to know. We use it a lot. You could say, oh, I'm having a hard time in science class. I don't understand what the teacher is talking about. I'm having a hard time in science class. Or maybe, your parents are talking, oh, our son Stevie is having a hard time at the new school. He's the new student and he doesn't have any friends.
对
So he's having a hard time. So we use this a lot.
对，这里的话呢，Stevie 老师刚刚举的两个例子呢，他是把 having a hard time 本身当做就是一个我呢现在的这个状况是在一个有困难的状态，然后后面没有再继续接说做什么事情啊、那所以呢，你有两种用法都可以看到。那么呢，我们课文上的用法的话呢，后面的那个动词记得要加 ing 啊、那么那个就是对于后面这件事情你是有困难的。那或者是 Stevie 老师讲的，我直接就是在一个困难的阶段里头都可以。
Or the same as this sentence, I'm having a hard time sleeping.
哦，我呢都睡不着，我很难睡着。
Yeah. So good phrase to know. We use it a lot. But why is she having a hard time? She says, well, I'm having a hard time picking a flight. I want to visit my sister in New York City. So for my upcoming trip, I want to go to New York City.
对
I want to visit my sister. Can you help me out?
所以呢，他说我要去呢拜访我的这个纽约的这个姐姐哦，所以呢纽约市的姐姐，那么是你可以帮助我吗？可不可以 help me out？ 就是可以帮助我解决这个状况吗？
So Pete says, oh, hey, Naomi. Like, hey, Pete, same thing.
对
Oh, hi. one of the most important things for me is the flight time. The flight time could be how long you will fly, but it could also be when you fly or when you arrive.
That's right.
Okay? So what he's talking about, the flight time, it could be, what time it flies, what time it lands, how long, anything with time.
对，所以呢，这个时候 Pete 他首先回答这个招呼哦，所以他说 Hey Naomi， 然后他接着说呢，这个最重要的事情之一，那什么最重要的事情之一，就是要选择航班。对我来说，最重要的事情之一呢，就是航班的时间。所以航班的时间这边呢，有两种可能，刚刚 Steve 老师已经讲了，一个是航班飞多久啊，飞几个小时；第二个是航班几点起飞，几点降落，这个也是航班的时间。所以我们后面会看到它是指哪一个。
And why is that important? If you have to change to another plane, do you have enough time
对
to change?
对
Or do you have to spend all night in an airport to wait for the next plane? These are all things we'll think about.
That's right.
So now Pete says, I always try to choose a flight that fits my schedule so that I won't be in a rush after arriving. So I want to find one that fits my schedule so it gives me enough time to not be in a rush, to not be in too big of a hurry. Like when I fly to LA and I have to transfer to the next plane, I have to do a lot of things. I have to go through security again and 海关护照一堆有的没的. So if my transfer flight is 2 hours, in 2 hours, that's not enough time. I'll be in a rush, a big rush, and 很有可能
Yeah.
来不及.
对
So maybe I want to pick a flight that gives me 4 hours. So I have enough time to get off the plane, relax, go to the bathroom,
And
do all
then
the
do other
things I need
things.
to do,
Yeah.
and get on the next plane. So yeah, you don't want to be in a big rush because that's very stressful.
That's right. 所以呢，接下来呢，他就讲到，他说我呢总是会试着去选择一个航班呢，是 fits 是有搭配到这个我的 schedule 就是我的行程。那么呢 ，so that 这样一来的话呢，我就不需要呢 be in a rush， 就是呢弄得很匆忙，非常的赶。然后呢 ，after arriving 就是我一降落，然后就整个很赶。所以呢，他不喜欢这样，所以呢，就像刚刚 Stevie 老师描述的，你选择的下一个航班的时间，可能会让你决定你是赶还是不赶，那这个是很重要的。
Yeah. So Naomi agrees. She said, "Oh, that makes sense."
对，他说有道理啊。
Yeah, that makes sense. But what about price? What about the cost?
他说那价格呢？
Don't you think that is important too? Don't you think how much you have to pay is also important?
对，所以他就问 Pete 说：“你不觉得那也是重要的吗？价格也是重要的啊。”
So Pete says, "Of course. Yeah. The price is always an important factor." And you used factor just a little while ago. This is also a good word when we're talking about different pieces of a situation. We'll talk about the different factors in the situation.
That's right.
So price, that's always an important factor. That's always an important part of my decision. But I also consider the airline's reputation. Airline, that's easy, 航空公司, right?
丢
But their reputation, like, is their reputation safe? Do you want to fly with an airline that you feel is not safe?
Of course
Maybe
not.
not. Okay.
Of course not.
So price is a factor. Time is a factor. And the airline's reputation is a factor.
没错。 所以呢 Pete 他首先说，当然这个价格当然重要，那么价格永远是一个重要的因素这个 factor 我们刚刚讲到的因素，但是呢，我也会去考量 consider 是考量这家航空公司它的 reputation， 就是它的声誉、它的名誉这样。
It's important to choose an airline with a good track record for reliable departures and arrivals, especially if you have connecting flights. So now he's talking about their reputation. Are they on time? Okay. Do they have a good track record? How would you say a track record in Chinese?
一个好的一个成绩的记录，一个表现的记录。
Yeah, we just call that a track record. So it's important to choose an airline with a good track record for reliable. If you're reliable, that means I can trust you, I can believe you, I can count on you. Okay?
可以靠的。
Yeah, I can rely.
对。
R-E-L-Y. I can rely on you. So for reliable departures and arrivals. So it's important the airline is usually on time, especially if I have to connect to another flight.
没错，所以呢，他讲到说呢，那么很重要的是要去选择一家航空公司是有着很好的一个表现记录，在什么呢？在可靠的起跟降这两个因素上面的这个记录要好。然后特别是当你有转机的航班的时候，那么有没有准时，这个就更重要了。
Yeah, these are all important. We'll take a quick break right here, and we'll be right back with the last part of the article. Okay, so he just said it's important. The airline's reputation is important. They should be reliable. So now Naomi says, oh, good point.
好点子。
Yeah, good point. Kind of like that makes sense.
好观点这样的一个意思。
Now, Naomi says, I also like to consider the baggage allowance and whether the airline offers any additional services like in-flight entertainment or meals. So I like to consider the baggage allowance. Baggage allowance means how many bags you are allowed to have on the plane and how much they can weigh. So how many bags and how 多重?
对，没错。
How much do they weigh? That's your baggage allowance. Will I have to pay extra if I want another bag? Okay. Also, whether the airline offers or gives you any additional services. Additional comes from the word add. Okay. So do they give you any other extra services? Like, is there in-flight entertainment? In-flight, while you're flying, this means, is there a TV I can watch?
Yeah.
Is there a screen that I can watch TV or play games?
Play games.
You know,
Yeah.
Is there
Do
in-flight entertainment? Are there meals? A lot of short, pardon me, a lot of short flights don't have meals.
对。
And then some do.
所以呢，这个 Naomi 她首先讲完了说这个你的观点很好之后呢，她接着说我也呢会想要 I also like to 我呢也会想要呢要考量就是考虑这个第一个是行李的限额限额限量那个叫做 allowance， 所以呢我们行李有限重。所以呢，这个是他要考量的其中一个因素，以及呢，是否这家航空公司有提供任何额外的一些服务他有举例，像是呢，这个机内的机上的这个娱乐或者是餐点等等。
Yeah. And then Pete adds, don't forget to check the seating arrangements too. Seating arrangements is how they arrange your seating. 他们怎么安排 right?
对，没错。
So don't forget, check the seating arrangements.
那么也别忘了要确认就是这个座位安排的部分。
Some airlines offer larger space. He's talking about bigger seating space. Larger space or comfortable seating options, which can make a big difference, especially on longer flights. So are you going to be stuck in a little middle seat, or are you going to sit maybe where the where the exit row is.
Yeah,
So you have more room for your feet.
that's right.
So there are larger space or more comfortable seating choices, which can make a big difference. To make a difference, well, it's a big difference.
没错。
It really is.
所以有一些航空公司，它会提供比较大的空间，或者是比较舒服的一个座位选择 ，options 是选择的意思，而这个可是会造成很大的影响，叫做 make a big difference。那尤其是在比较长途的这个航班里头呢，那么这种座位的选择就更大的不同了。
Yeah. And sometimes that costs more too. But sometimes if you have the money, 值得. It's worth it.
That's right.
Too bad I don't have the money. Okay. So Naomi says, oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I should check seating arrangements.
他说好主意哦，我
Yeah.
应该要确认这个。
Thanks for the tips, Pete.
然后谢谢你的指点哦，Pete。
哎，不是，谢谢你的小费。Tip, I just dropped my pen. Tip is 小费，也是
指点诀窍。
yes.
这样。
Should we stop that because I dropped the pen? Do you want to do that again? 应该不用。
那就
OK，
瞬接。
那我就跟刚刚那个地方瞬接。OK， 好。
好，准备3、2、1。
And then she says, thanks for the tips, Pete. I think I can make my decision now. I think I know how to choose what I want now.
所以他说
Yeah.
那么我现在可以做我的决定了。
And Pete says, I'm glad to help.
我很高兴可以帮上忙。
Yeah, I'm happy to help. Sometimes we use the word glad. You don't hear it as much being taught in Taiwan. We always hear, oh, I'm happy. But we also say very commonly, oh, I'm glad to help.
没错。
Yeah, I'm glad you're happy. I hope you have a nice time with your sister.
我希望你跟你姐姐有一段很快乐的时光。
And that is the end of our lesson. I'm glad that you could join us today to learn some really useful vocabulary and phrases with our story today. So I think that's all of our time.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
拜拜。
And I think we should take a flight to Hawaii. Look, I've already got the shirt.
Okay.
I'm ready. Let's go.
So I can't wait to say bye.